everyone, welcome back to Gracie May's Tarot. So today we'll be filming a video that is what will dating your future spouse be like? So we're gonna leave it completely open-ended and just see what messages come through. We have 3 groups to choose from today, so you can choose your group either based upon the image that you're most drawn to on the Heart Oracle cards, or you can choose your group based upon the love token that you're most drawn to. So for pile 1, we have good for a very long cuddle. For pile 2, we have good for a romantic sunset. And for pile 3, we have good for a candlelit dinner. So take a moment, pause the video if you need to, and meditate on the groups. The timestamps will be listed below in the description box, just like always, and I will see you all in your reading. Hi pile 1, welcome to your reading. So I've been getting over a sickness, so bear with me if I sound a little bit low energy today, but let's go ahead and get into your reading. So we're gonna start with your dice here. I did this before I started filming because I didn't know, like in terms of the noise level, I didn't want to hurt anyone's ears if you have an earbuds. But anyway, right away when I was rolling your dice, I started to hear the song in Cinderella, a wish is a dream your heart makes. And then when I started to see these laid out, it started to make a lot of sense because this figure here really looks like the evil stepmother in a Cinderella. I almost said in a Cinderella story. In Cinderella, this looks like the evil stepmother. And then we have the castle here. We have the fairy godmother. So this talks about like divine protection, whereas this talks about someone in your life being malicious or deceitful or trying to harm you in some way. You know, someone who's just really cruel. And so I kind of feel like in terms of dating your future spouse, there's a couple different things. Like, there's so many messages coming forward. I'm really liking using the dice, I'll say that. But you may find that dating your future spouse feels so incredible. It feels like such a departure from your past, what you've been through, even other things going on in your life. You know, you may feel really dissatisfied, you know, with your home life, with your living situation, with your friend group, with your work situation, with your school. You know, there just may be other things going on in your life that are really bringing you down and making you feel disempowered. Could also be family issues at this time, but it feels like dating your future spouse is, you know, that one bright spot. You know, it really feels like you've really struggled a lot. And it could be that your romantic, like your dating history has been really difficult, or you've been single for a long time. It's a general reading, so it's gonna vary. But it just feels like when this person comes in and you start dating them, it just feels like that one thing that you can hold on to and that puts a smile on your face even as other things are just miserable. You remember when Cinderella gets back from the ball and she's like sweeping and doing all her normal chores, but she's humming to herself, right? It's that song. And so I feel like people are gonna notice when you're dating your future spouse that, you know, your mood is just different, you're a lot lighter, and you're just happier, and there's no real reason for you to be happy that they can see, right? Like nothing else in your life has changed except this person. And so some people are going to be really supportive and really happy for you, and then other people, like the evil stepmother here, are going to be unfortunately jealous, envious, you know, not wanting to see you happy. You know, some people may even go so far as to be a negative voice in your ear, you know, trying to tell you, are you sure? You know, if they sound too good to be true, they probably are, you know, things like that. And there may be even some friends who don't mean to be envious, but when you're gushing about your future spouse and how incredible they are and how lucky you feel, you may find that they say some little like snide remarks, some snarky comments, or maybe they bring up your dating history, or, you know, oh, you said the same thing about so-and-so and they broke your heart, you know, just trying to put you down a little bit, you know, because for whatever reason they're not quite happy with their love life, and so or even some other aspect of their life. So I feel like it's going to be quite divided here, but the good news is that even if you do have people who aren't supportive or aren't happy for you, or are even going so far as to try to like actively interfere in your like new relationship with your future spouse, you still have that divine protection, okay? So there's really nothing to be concerned about here. Now with this dice here in the middle, it makes me think that you guys might play like 20 questions a lot on your dates. Like you guys ask a lot of both fun and lighthearted, but also like really deep and, you know, vulnerable questions to each other. And I think that your conversations with one another are going to be the real like highlight to all of your dates. Like that's the part of it that you love the most, is just talking and laughing and chatting and having those quality conversations. And I think that even after the dates, you know, when you're at work or at school or, you know, cleaning your house, whatever, I feel like you're going to be replaying those conversations a lot in your head. And that's part of why like you're smiling all the time for no apparent reason, because you keep reflecting back on like all the cool things that you guys talked about together, and even just how they made you feel during those conversations. And I feel like this is a connection where you're gonna have a lot of inside jokes like really quickly, and you kind of develop a rapport really quickly, and you have just an easiness, you know, and a quickness and a lightness to your conversations. I've been watching Gilmore Girls here lately, and the way they talk on that show is like very fast. So I feel like you're gonna have that kind of dynamic with your future spouse, where it's just easy, you know, like you guys are both really quick with the one-liners, you get each other's sense of humor, you're interested in the same topics, you have a lot to teach each other, a lot of experiences to share. Yeah, it just doesn't feel like you're sitting in awkward silence, you know, and that may be something that you're not used to. And if you're an introverted person, I definitely feel like this person could bring out a more talkative, chattier side to you. Okay, now with the 3 wishes here, I do feel like your future spouse may do something to where they do help you out in some other area of your life. And so you may find that like when you're on the date with this person, you may share with them things about your life that you're not quite happy with, and that may surprise you. You know, that may be different than how you typically are, like especially if you tend to be a more like guarded or private person, and then all of a sudden you find yourself telling them how much you hate your job, or you don't like where you live, or you really wish you had a new car, but blah blah blah. And you may find that your future spouse is just really, really good about giving you practical advice that is super helpful, but doesn't make you feel lesser than them, or like they're above you in some way. And so I feel like your future spouse is actually going to help you out with some stuff. And it could even be as simple as, I ordered this bookcase 2 weeks ago and I still can't figure out how to put it together. And you mention this when you're on a date with them, and they say, well, I can come over and put that together for you, like no problem. Like this person is just really helpful, I think, also like in terms of practical advice, but also in terms of like handiness. So I hope that makes sense. So like if you needed something fixed around your house or something put together, they're good at like mechanical things, even in terms of like building things. So I hope that makes sense. They could also be knowledgeable about cars. I don't know why that just came through, but it did. Okay, this person with this mask here, I do feel like a couple messages here. This could be, for some of you, someone that you haven't met yet. This person is a total mystery. This is a new love. It's not an ex, you know, that kind of thing. I also, though, think of like Cinderella again, and the ball, and, you know, him not knowing like who she is, and her being a mystery, and like all eyes on her kind of energy. And this kind of feels like more like how your future spouse will view you on your dates. Like you're something to marvel at. Like you're so different than the type of person they typically go for, or you may be in different sort of like social classes, or you may come from a different background culturally or something like that. It could even be like as simple as like, you know, a difference in like geographic location. You know, like they've never really spent any time with anyone from the South, or like you've never spent any time with anyone from the West Coast, you know, or like wherever you're at. So it could be something like that. But it's just, I don't know, like you're quite interesting to them, and I think that they have a very scientific kind of inquisitive mind, like they're very curious. Kind of picking up like Gemini, Mercurial a little bit energy here. Yeah, like they just want to know more, and they're very intrigued by you, and yeah, they just think that you're very interesting. And it could also be like why they ask so many questions of you as well, is that they're just so curious, you know, like you're just so different than, you know, their friends or their family or their past partners, and they're just curious to know more. So yeah, I think conversation will be high quality on your dates here. Now with the castle here, this could signify like multiple things. It could signify that you have dates at home with them. So like maybe they offer to cook you dinner and you go over to their place, you know, for a date, or you guys decide to have a movie night, or if you go out, you know, the date may end with like coffee or wine or whatever at their place, that kind of thing. It could also signify that you guys have conversations in your dates early on about your future goals and like what you're wanting to build and where you see things going, and like what in general you want in your life, even like non-specific to romance. So like, what are you wanting to do with your career? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Or, you know, where do you want to live in the future? Or, you know, do you want kids? You know, that kind of thing. Or even like, do you want pets? You know, so I feel like either you or your future spouse or both of you are very goal oriented. We also have, I thought these look like little beans. They're meant to be seeds. So the idea here is like planting seeds. So I think there's a couple messages with that expression as well. Like, I feel like that speaks to seeds are going to be planted early on in your dates for like what is to come. So like conversations about like, oh, you want 2 kids, I want 2 kids too, and then you end up in the future having exactly 2 children, you know, that kind of thing. So it's almost like you two are manifesting or co-creating your future together early on in your dates. So, you know, if they say, I've always wanted to live by the water, I've always wanted to live on a lake or at the beach, and you're like, oh my gosh, me too. And then, you know, 5-7 years down the line, when you're married and you're settled, you end up buying a house by the water, you know, that kind of thing. So it's almost like you're manifesting or co-creating your future together, and that's probably coming from that serious discussion you're going to have about your long-term goals and what you're wanting for the future. Also here with the planting of seeds, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit distracted. I'm seeing like my favorite like stray cat outside. I put food out for him, so hopefully he gets to it soon. He's making me a little nervous because he's out on the road. Okay, he's going to the sidewalk. All right, so with the planting seeds also, this kind of makes me think of like magic beans, especially because you got it next to, you know, the little genie in a bottle, 3 wishes thing going on. So I also think that you may need to be a little bit careful when you're on your dates with them if things get physically intimate, you know, like planting a seed. You know, you could have like an unexpected pregnancy type of thing come about. So, you know, just be mindful of that. That might be something to consider. He's out of the road now. Good, good, good. Okay, this is making me so nervous. I'm trying to see if there are any other messages. I got a little bit distracted. Oh yes, because of the 3. I always think of the Beyonce song. It's Countdown. She says like, I'm trying to make a 3 from the 2, you're still the 1. Like I'm trying to make a baby from the 2 of us, you are still the 1. So yeah, just be mindful. Because I always think of babies when I see the number 3 because of that Beyonce song. So yeah, just something to be mindful of. I also think that you could very easily plant seeds in their mind by making like the most like offhanded remark, and they really pay attention. They pay very close attention to the things that you say on your dates with them. So like if you just mention, man, like I haven't been to a concert in a long time, or I've always wanted to go to X place, you know, or I really love the color yellow. Like whatever, you know, they really are kind of taking mental notes in their mind of the things that you say, and then they use that knowledge to buy you gifts or to set up dates in the future. So if you mention something, don't be surprised when they show up with concert tickets, or they have, you know, booked a trip somewhere, a weekend getaway, or they bought you a sweater in the color yellow. You know, like just don't be surprised by that. Now with the Astro dice here, we have the 12th house, which is Pisces. We also have Saturn, and we have Aquarius. I love to see Aquarius here. That makes me so happy, because Aquarius energy to me is really one of friendship. It talks about groups, it talks about the collective, it talks about community and change. But to me, Aquarius is really, really about friendship. And I think that that's going to be sort of the solid foundation that is built, you know, over the course of these dates that you're going to have with them, is that this is going to be someone that you genuinely like to spend time with. And it's not going to feel like, you know, if I weren't physically or romantically attracted to them, I wouldn't want to talk to them. You know, it's not that kind of thing. You know, this is the sort of person where you're like, man, if we broke up, I would really feel like I was losing a friend too. So it's kind of like Chandler and Monica on Friends. Yeah, there's a real solid foundation here of friendship, and I think that's also related to how great you guys communicate and how well you get along and how you just genuinely like to spend time together. So I wouldn't be surprised if you guys have very similar interests, or your idea of a good time, your idea of fun is very similar. You know, you guys are just very compatible, even just as friends. So I think that is going to really help you guys stay together, right? Because not every marriage will last. So I think that that speaks to the lasting power of your marriage as well, if we think about the future. Now with Saturn here, you could meet this person at work. This could also be someone that, you know, you can take to work functions. You know, if that's something that you have to deal with a lot, you know, like I know some people have to go to, some people travel for work, some people have to go to, you know, like conventions or seminars, or yeah, like things like that. This could be someone that you could take to work functions and they would be open to that. That's just kind of a side message. But also I feel like you guys are just gonna work really well together. And in terms of like your dates, like you guys are both very much in agreement that things should be planned with a specific time. And you know, if we say that we're gonna meet at 8 o'clock, you need to be there at 8 o'clock. You know, like you guys both have that sense of like, because Saturn is father time and he's about discipline and structure. So it's not, you guys don't have a dynamic where, oh, hey, sorry, I know I was supposed to be there 20 minutes ago, but, you know, something came up, or, you know, this isn't going to be someone who is late and doesn't text you. You know, like it would have to be something completely out of their hands, but if they were going to be late, they would tell you. Like, this is someone who's very punctual, and, you know, they're not going to cancel a date at the last minute. They're not going to blow you off for their friends, you know. If they did cancel a date, it would be for something serious. You know, they wouldn't put you at the bottom of their priority list kind of thing. So, and I feel like Saturn too just really speaks to how much effort they're gonna put into your dates. This is someone who would show up with a gift at the door. This is someone who would you know, not just blow the horn outside your house, you know, they would come up to the door. They're not even gonna text you from the car, you know, like they would do the proper thing. And, you know, they're very by the book. Like they'll come up to your door, you know, at the end of the day, they walk you to the door, you know, that kind of thing. Like they'll hold open the door for you. They're very polite, they have good manners, that kind of thing. Also, with the 12th house here, there's a very dreamy, surreal aspect to this connection. You know, like it does feel a bit fairy tale like. It does feel, you know, like a wish come true. It may feel too good to be true in the beginning. You may be a little suspicious if you know, have had like a difficult dating history, that kind of thing. But I also feel like Pisces speaks to not only creativity, but a psychic connection. You know, like, and I think that is part of why your communication with one another flows so easily on these dates, is because you guys just sort of effortlessly get each other. So this could be a soulmate connection. You could be getting like psychic downloads from this person before you meet them, or feel connected to their higher self. You could be seeing signs and synchronicities that you even see like on dates, or you may be on a date with them and you kind of have a deja vu, surreal moment, like you feel like you've been there before. You could share past lives with this person. You may feel like, oh, I dreamed about this restaurant. This is bizarre, you know, or like, you know, you go on a date with them at like a national park kind of thing. Not a state park, I meant to say. And you are like, I've walked down this trail before, even though you haven't, but you have in your dreams, you know, that kind of thing. So there is like a surreal aspect there. This could also, of course, be speaking to their astrological placements. So, you know, maybe they have some placements in Aquarius, or maybe they have some 12th house placements or some Pisces placements. That could be a thing as well. Saturn could also be some Capricorn placements, or, sorry, I'm getting like a little bit, I don't know. Lost my train of thought, and then I had a tickle in my throat at the same time. They could also have some 10th house placements in their birth chart. I meant to say that because of Capricorn and Saturn. Okay, they could also have Saturn in the first house. They could also have a Capricorn rising. I wouldn't be surprised about that either. That just came through. Okay, I feel like we have talked about this at length, so I'm going to put this to the side. And now we will get into your tarot. I chose the Mystic Fairy Tarot for this group. We're going to be shuffling on camera today. Given that we're now at 22 minutes, I suspect this is going to be a longer reading, which is fine. I hope you guys have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or something, a snack, soda, whatever you like to drink. Okay. Pile 1, what will dating your future spouse be like? Pile 1. Now we have the black and white stray cat outside sunbathing. That cat is Gracie's arch nemesis, like she can't stand that one. They just stare at each other through the window like two angry loafs and like mean mug each other. They used to attack each other through the window, but they've evolved. Now they just stare hatefully at one another. Okay, we have Strength, we have the Chariot. Pile 1, please, Spirit. Pile 1, please, Spirit. Let's see. We've got the Magician, the Knight of Swords. I'm feeling one more card here. And we've got the Page of Wands. Okay. So many messages all at once. With the Knight of Swords, this could definitely be someone with some air sign placements, because you got Aquarius, which is an air sign, and swords represent air signs. So Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra placements could be significant. We also have Leo here. We have Cancer with Chariot. Magician, I always associate, well, let me say this, because you also have the Page of Wands here, so all fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius could also be significant. So kind of a mixed bag in terms of astrological placements here. But let's get into it. Dating your future spouse. I do want to mention again, because we have the Page of Wands, this could be signifying having a child. So again, just be very mindful to use protection if you're going to be physically intimate and you're not planning on having a child at that time. Just a little PSA. But with the Chariot, you could go and travel for dates. You know, you could go to places that you've never been before, and this doesn't have to be like long distance travel. It could just be that you go to, you know, restaurants that you've never been to. You go to cool little spots in your town, in your city that you've never been to before. You're like, wow, like I never knew about this park, or I never knew about this coffee shop or this bookstore, or you know, like whatever it is that you enjoy doing. You know, they just take you, it's kind of like seeing a place that you've lived in for a while with fresh eyes, or they take you to somewhere that's like close to where you live, but kind of, you know, maybe like a town over, or they live in a different city than you, and so you're exploring a new place with them, you know, that kind of thing. You could also go on like weekend getaways, day trips, you know, that kind of thing. But there's definitely movement here and travel. You could also do things outside a lot. So you could do like hikes, you know, maybe you go see like a waterfall, maybe you do like a quick trip to, you know, your local beach, that kind of thing, if that resonates. Also with the Magician here, it does feel like whatever you want to do, they want to make it happen. So you could say like the most ridiculous thing, like, oh man, like I really want to go to a drive-in movie theater. Those aren't super common, right? And so they're on their phone Googling, like trying to look it up and see like where the closest one is. And they're like, oh no, it's like 3 hours away. And they're like, let's do it. You know, that kind of thing. Like they just want to make you happy. Like whatever you're wanting, they're like, let's do it. Let's figure this out. Or, you know, you could be sitting at home and you text them and you're like, man, I really want some tacos right now. And the next thing you know, they're showing up at your door, you know, with tacos, that kind of thing. Like whatever you're wanting, they want to make it happen for you. With this Strength card here too, it really feels like they just have so much admiration for how you carry yourself. And I really feel like they're going to compliment you a lot on how you're dressed on your dates, or like how you smell, how you look. Yeah, it's just something about the way that she's dressed here looks like very elaborate. And so they are going to notice that. Like they're going to notice how you styled your hair, or the jewelry that you're wearing, you know, or if you have a nice watch on, like they're going to say something about the way that you're dressed or the way you look. So yeah, they're definitely like going to give you compliments on your date and stuff like that. They take notice, and it's from a genuine place. Like they're not just saying it just to say it. They really do admire you. I also feel like the way the sword is cutting through this rose here, this person is very forthcoming and open and honest about how they feel, you know, as your dates are progressing, you know, so this isn't someone who's gonna play games or, you know, try to like hide how they're feeling. Like they're pretty open about it, and they kind of just cut to the chase, you know, like they just want to get to the heart of things. They don't really want to mess around and, you know, play it cool. You know, they're just trying to be authentic and honest about what they want and who they are and what they think of you. You know, like they're just very clear about everything. This person is a bit of a kid at heart though. Like they like to be a bit silly. Like I do think this person prides themselves on being funny. You know, there is a comedic side to them, a playful side, a flirtatious side to them. And they like to just, they do like to be spontaneous, but in a way where it's still a bit controlled and planned. Like they would be down, you know, they might spontaneously decide to do something, but they're not gonna do it necessarily right that minute. They're still gonna plan it out. So for example, I may say like, man, I really want to go to the mountains, and you're like, really? And they're like, really? But they're not gonna go to the mountains that day. You know, like they're gonna plan it out, but like, let's look at like these nice cabin rentals, and oh, you know, if we go on this day, we can go to this apple orchard, and then we can go to this pumpkin patch, and then they have this fall festival. You know, like they're gonna plan it out so you can have the most fun. So it's like scheduled fun. Like it's still an element of spontaneity, but it's not, oh, let's just drive and see what happens, you know, because then you end up wasting a lot of time, and this person is not into wasting time at all. You know, we did have that Saturn energy. They do not like wasted time. They do like things to be planned and organized. Let me see. I also feel like this person just has a knack for thinking on their feet. So like if you had plans to go somewhere and say you go there and they're just oddly closed, you know, like sometimes you have your heart set going to a certain restaurant and then they're just randomly closed for the day. This person's like really quick on their feet, and they're able to, I don't know, like they don't get upset, you know, like the whole date's not going to be ruined just because this restaurant's closed. Like they'll figure it out. So they're really good at thinking on their feet in that manner, and, you know, creating a new plan. And yeah, this person, I really, if I were you, I would really appreciate that about them, because it really irks me when people are overly dramatic about things like that, and they just ruin the rest of the day and make everyone else miserable because this one thing didn't work out. You know, like they're not like that. They're gonna figure out something else. You know, they wanna have fun, and they want to make you happy, and they want to make themselves happy. So yeah, they don't, they're not easily discouraged. You know, this person is a pretty happy-go-lucky person in general. So yeah, they're not going to let one setback ruin the whole date, kind of thing. All right, let's get some more cards for you. I can't believe I spent 20 minutes on your dice. Oh my gosh. I maybe shouldn't have picked out so many oracle cards. This is just going to be a very long reading. Okay, so pile 1, what do we need to know about dating your future spouse? Pile 1, we've got wholeness here with 33. Okay, 3 is very significant because you got 3 over here, and now we have repeating 3s again. I wouldn't be surprised if you met your future spouse at like a gathering, or you have mutual acquaintances or friends, or you meet them in a public space. I feel like that could be just an aside message. This could also speak to this person having a large like social circle, or having many friends, or they're just someone who does really well in social settings. So like even if they're more of an introverted person and, you know, they just like to have a couple good friends, they're still someone who's like very charming and charismatic and able to work a room. So like when they want to pull out, you know, that kind of side to themselves, they can. But yes. So anyway, repeating 3s. We also, that could also be speaking to a date. So like maybe like March, or, you know, the 3rd of a certain month, or the 3rd season in a year could be significant. With wholeness here though, I really feel like this person feels like the complete package for you. Like everything that you've been wanting, you feel that on your dates. Like you see that in them. You're like, wow, like this person is everything I wanted in terms of like physical attraction. This person is everything I wanted in terms of emotional, spiritual connection. This person is everything I wanted in terms of like practical things, like do they have a stable job? You know, like do they have good values? You know, things like that. So that's good to hear. But I also feel like with the double 3s here, that feeling is mutual. So they feel the exact same way about you. Like this is everything. And you see the Aquarius symbol here too. Like it's repeating now. So I really feel like this is also speaking to that strong friendship that we were talking about before as well. With the Strength card coming out twice now for you, I really feel like that also goes into how much they're going to admire you. And again, you may find yourself opening up to them on your dates, like more than you plan. So you may find yourself sharing personal, intimate details about your story with them sooner than you had planned, and you may kind of beat yourself up for it a little bit, like, man, I shouldn't have shared so much, I shouldn't have divulged so much about myself so quickly, like, you know, can I trust them? And I feel like this is reassuring you that you can, you know, like the heart of gold, kind of like Leo energy, that generosity. You can trust them, you know, like they are strong enough to hear your story and hold space for you, and, you know, to carry, and not as like a secret, but to carry your trust with them, you know, like they're not going to run and tell their friends and their family everything that you just told them, you know, like they're gonna respect your privacy, which I think is really beautiful. Okay. I also feel like you feel very seen and understood by this person. And it could be because I don't think necessarily that you've shared similar life experiences, but I feel like this person just gets it. Like, I feel like this person is so compassionate that they just get it. You know, like even though they may not understand exactly what you've been through, they understand how it has shaped you, and they understand how your experiences and your past have helped you develop your inner strength, and they admire that about you. And so I really feel like this person just adores you, you know, like they just have a lot of respect for you. And because they have such respect for you, they're not going to judge you, and they are going to be compassionate and, yeah, respect your privacy. All right, pile 1, dating your future spouse, pile 1. We've got focus, eyes on the prize. This makes me think that when you're on a date with them, they only have eyes for you. You know, they're not taking a peek at you know, an attractive person across the room kind of thing. You know, they don't have a wandering eye. You're their main focus. They're not going to be looking at their phone. They're not going to be distracted, you know, looking at, I don't know, something outside, you know. They're just going to be very focused on you. They're not going to be distracted. They're going to actively participate in your conversations or the activities that you're doing. And I think this also talks about like the long-term future, like, you know, from the very like early dates that you have with this person, they're going to see a future with you and be very interested in, yeah, kind of just this feeling of like this is the one very early on. And I think they just have an inner knowing about it. And even if they're not a spiritual person or they don't believe in soulmates, they just see so much potential in your connection just early on. And they really have trust that it will develop into something. Now with this entitlement card, check your prima donna. You may get a bit spoiled by this person. As you're dating them, you may get a little bit complacent in how good they treat you. And I think this is just a message from Spirit in saying like, yes, this person is amazing, and yes, they adore you and they put you on a pedestal kind of energy, but that doesn't mean that it's okay for you to be ungrateful or take advantage of them. And not to say that you would, but I think that we all kind of get complacent as our relationships go on and we get out of the honeymoon period. And, you know, there may also be some things that they suggest doing that you're like, you know, depending upon your personality, you may say like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like, for example, camping. I'm laughing because as much as I love being out in nature and that kind of thing, like I love going on hikes and trails and, you know, seeing waterfalls and going to the beach and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of all that, I want to go to a hotel, or I want to stay, you know, in an Airbnb or a cabin or something. I don't want to go in a tent and not have a shower and a bathroom. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that. And so you may have something like that as well, where, you know, I'm like, gross, bugs, like I don't want to sleep outside. And you may have something like that. You know, your future spouse may suggest something for a date and you're like, gross, I don't want to do that. And you know, you're being a little bit of like a prince or a princess about it. And yeah, it's just saying maybe try being like a little bit open to what they want to do. You know, don't shut them down immediately and be like, I don't want to do that, gross, no. Like I would be with camping, so, or fishing. Like I can't see myself fishing. Like I don't want to see, you know, poor little fish dead on a wire. But you know, that may be something that they really like to do. So it's just saying, you know, be mindful about shutting them down right away if they suggest an activity that you're not really into. Okay. Let's see, we've got fresh start, new beginning. This really, I don't feel like this is saying this is someone from your past, although it could. If it's someone from your past, it's not an ex, okay? It's like an old school friend or acquaintance or something like that. But I think in general, this is just a really clean slate. Like this person's a total departure from like what you're used to in love. I think it's just a very different energy than what you've experienced in the past on dates. You've got strength 3 times now. Who is a Leo here? Like, oh my gosh, 3 times. I think this person makes you feel brave. Like, I think this person maybe gets you out of your box more. They encourage you to do things that, you know, would typically scare you or things that you wouldn't usually be drawn to. So I think they get you out of your box. I also feel like you're just feel more like confidence in yourself being with this person. It could be they have a positive influence on you. Like for example, if you really avoid conflicts, like you cannot be in conflict with anybody, and as a result, you know, you kind of end up being a doormat more times than you would like, this person could really help you in that way. And you know, maybe it's something that you guys talk about on your dates. You know, you're like, man, I'm really struggling with my coworker, but you know, I'm afraid to say something to her directly. You know, your future spouse could help you with that. So just apply that how it resonates to your life. But pile 1, dating your future spouse. We have timing, divine timing, and patience. I do feel like this is the kind of connection where you meet each other and everything is like smooth sailing. You know that they're the one. They know, you know, everything feels like mutual and everything's going smoothly. And because everything's going so well, there may be, you know, something about it where you want things to move faster than you typically would because you feel so sure about it. And this is spirit just saying, like, just because things are going really well doesn't mean you shouldn't still take your time with it. You know, just because this person is the one and you feel very certain about it and they feel very certain about you doesn't mean you shouldn't still take the time to build that solid foundation. You know, so maybe don't move in together in the first month kind of thing. Okay. And then we have sad, lonely, depressed, mental health. I feel like this is speaking to what we were picking up on in the very beginning of your reading when we were saying that it feels like your future spouse is the one bright spot in your life. And that could be why you feel that urge to move things more quickly than you typically would. And so it's just, I think, a healthy reminder to, you know, don't force things, go with the flow. You know, be mindful of clinginess and codependency and just let it unfold naturally and don't put so much pressure on it, because you do have so many good things in your life, even if it's difficult to see that. And you know, you can't put so much focus on dating your future spouse that you neglect other areas of your life, or you make that your one source of happiness. It's okay if that's how it is for a while, you know, like we all go through difficult cycles, but you should still continue to work to improve other areas of your life as well. I feel like this could also be saying that you can really trust your future spouse, you know, when you're dating them, even early on in the beginning. You know, if you end up sharing like a deeply personal story with them because you are going through it and you end up crying in front of them, that's okay. Like, they're not gonna judge you for that. They can handle that. You know, some people freak out over tears. You know, they can't take it and they get awkward and then they never talk to you again. You don't have to be worried about that with your future spouse. You know, if you cry, they don't care. Like, they care, but they aren't going to be bothered by it. You know, they just want to support you in any way that they can. All right, pile 1, dating your future spouse, pile 1. We have ghost. I feel like this is really picking up on that soulmate connection that we were talking about, and how it's gonna feel like a bit like deja vu, like I've been here before, like this feels very familiar to me and I don't know why. Like, why does this person feel so familiar to me? This could also be speaking to this person being someone from your past. Again, it doesn't feel like an ex, it just feels like maybe someone that you knew from childhood, that kind of thing. With snail, I do feel like this is going to develop slowly. It's like the emotional connection and the attraction is immediate, like, you know, like this is it, this is the one. But in terms of those markers of like, I love you, being in an exclusive relationship, getting engaged, getting married, you know, those things I think are still gonna take time, and you're gonna have to be patient. And this may be because of their past, or it may just be that when you meet them, you're at a more mature place where neither one of you wants to repeat past mistakes. It could also be that you put such a high value on the connection and the friendship that you're kind of like, I don't want to risk losing this person, so I don't want to rush it and I don't want to mess it up. You know, because again, like, you really value that friendship with them as well. This could also be friends to lovers. That could also be a thing. With white dress here, I feel like this is just confirming that you will marry this person. You know, if you get a little bit insecure about that and you kind of feel like, I don't know if I'm ever really going to get married, but I want to. This could just be reassurance from spirit that yes, you are going to get married. I feel like this also speaks to the purity of the connection, like you can really trust this person. With white dress, you may also do a lot of things with them on dates that require like getting dressed up in a certain way. I just feel like you guys are going to have a real variety when it comes to the things you do on dates and the activities. Like, I feel like you guys sometimes go to really fancy places, and then other times you do things that, you know, are really active and outside, and, you know, you have to dress up for that. And then other days, you know, you hang out at someone's house and you're real chill and in comfy clothes, you know, like, I feel like what you wear on your dates varies a lot because you guys do a lot of different things together. Pile 1, dating your, I think this is the last oracle deck. Yeah. Okay, pile 1, dating your future spouse here. Yes, okay. This is like the third message, I think, about family. So yeah, just be really mindful about pregnancies. I really just feel like this is confirming that this person is your soulmate. They're likely part of your soul family. The repeating 4s, like, there's a lot of stability here, you know, a desire to build a home and a family. And if you don't want kids, family can be like, you know, your pets, or, you know, just your connection with each other. This could also be speaking to the fact that you guys will expand your social circle as a result of knowing this person and dating them and eventually getting married to them. You know, meet new people through them, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, I feel like this is just another reminder, like, just take it slow. You know, don't rush it. Be mindful. I also feel like this is speaking to how much they're going to respect your boundaries. You know, this is someone who, again, like, they really respect your privacy. Chemistry, I feel like we already knew that. I feel like the chemistry is going to be immediate between you two. Bottom of the deck, we have soul connection. Yeah, not surprised by that either. So this is confirming that you're going to have a soul level connection with this person. You're going to have a spiritual connection with them. Chemistry, you know, it's going to be, you know, you're going to be very physically compatible with this person, but also very emotionally compatible with them. There's a lot of flirtatious energy on your dates. Yeah, they feel like family. They're supportive of you. You can trust them. And they are very respectful and mindful of your boundaries. So, like, in a practical sense, like, if you're on a date with them and you say, like, hey, I'm sorry, you know, I'm just not comfortable holding hands on a first date. They would be very respectful of that. They wouldn't give you a hard time about it. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, they're not pushy. Like, I was on a date with someone once, and they wanted to take my picture, and it was like the first date. And they had taken the picture, and they'd want to post it to their Instagram, and I was like, no. Like, I'm not into that, I'm sorry. And they wouldn't let it go. And so, yeah, I don't feel like you're gonna have to deal with that kind of thing on your dates with this person. Okay, let's see if there are any other messages that I'm picking up from this. I don't know if I said this before, but I do think words of affirmation and probably quality time are two love languages that this person would identify with. Yeah, I don't know if I said that before. Okay, let's end your reading. This is a message from your future spouse's higher self, what they want you to know at the time of you watching this reading. It says surrender. At times we must surrender the old before something new can enter our lives. Let go and all will work out. So pile 1, this was your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope you enjoyed it. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, hitting the notification bell so you always know when I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to watch the ads. I would like to say a huge thank you to anyone who chooses to do any of those things, and I will see you all in my next one. Take care, pile 1. Hi Pile 2, welcome to your reading. So we're going to start off with your dice and then we will get into your tarot. We will save this card for the very end of your reading. Okay, so a lot going on here. I will say your future spouse presents with a very strong divine masculine energy here. They have the Robin Hood figure and then they also have Julius Caesar here. So there's a very strong divine masculine energy from your future spouse, and I think that is very evident on the dates that you go out with them. Now remember, when we talk about divine masculine versus divine feminine, we're just talking about energy, we're not talking about gender. But I definitely feel like they are going to plan the dates. They are going to make the first move. They're going to initiate, you know, they'll be the one to ask you out on the first date. They'll be the one to, you know, plan things, to follow up, you know, after you have your date. They'll be the one to call you or text you or reach out to you and plan the next one, you know, and they will pick you up at your house, you know, and I think that they're very traditional. You know, they just have a very clear idea of like, this is my responsibility here, and you know, they hold themselves to a certain standard. You know, you may have been drawn to pile 1 because some of this is overlapping a little bit with pile 1 so far. That may just be, you know, a message for some of you. But yeah, I feel like they hold themselves to a certain standard. It's almost like they have a rule book, in their head of like, this is what you do on dates and this is what you don't do on dates. You know, like this is someone who really values like etiquette, you know, like they don't want to ever be rude or mistreat someone. They don't want to mislead anyone. They don't like to play games. You know, like they're just a very honest, blunt, direct person. And I really think that it's kind of like, you know, take it or leave it, but this is who I am and this is what I value. And yeah, they're just very honest. They seem like a very mature person. You could meet this person later in life, or maybe they're a little bit older than you, but I definitely feel like they're emotionally mature. They know what they want. They know what they're looking for. They know what they're about. You know, this person isn't wishy-washy. They're not flaky. They're not stringing you along. And I know, of course, like it's your future spouse, but you know, people marry immature people all the time. You know, if you've ever watched a reality TV show, like you see that a lot. You know, grown men in their 40s acting like they're 20. So, you know, it does happen. I don't feel like you'll have to worry about that with your future spouse. They seem very emotionally mature and like they know what they want, and you know, you're not going to be dating them for 10 years wondering when they're going to propose. Like that's not your future, pile 2, thank goodness. And I also think with this magic wand here, like it does kind of feel very like they want to sweep you off your feet kind of thing. Like they are definitely with the treasure chest, like trying to make a good first impression, trying to show you that they care. This is definitely a person of action. You know, like they never expect you to just take their word for it. If they say they're going to do something, they're going to do it. And they wouldn't expect you just to believe them at their word. You know, when you're getting to know each other, they definitely understand the importance of like showing up for you and demonstrating to you through their actions, not just their words, that they mean what they say and they do what they say. You know, all that kind of thing. With the windmill here, they definitely put in, you know, the effort. With the broom, it's the same thing. You know, they put in the effort. They're willing to, yeah, be very honest. There's also something here about them being very intelligent. Yeah, this person is very smart. This is the type of person, this is where there's also a little bit of overlap with pile 1, because this person is very determined, very ambitious, they're very focused on their career, but they do time management really well. So I don't think that's going to be an issue for you at all, because they really balance out their time really well. And so I don't think it's not going to affect you when you're dating them. You know, you're not going to feel like, man, I never get to see this person. They're always working. You know, they're always taking work calls, you know, when we're at dinner. That's not going to be a problem, but this person does talk about their job a lot. So, and it's not in a negative way. They like what they do, they're good at what they do, and they're proud of what they do. So this person does talk about their work, but in a sense of like, I'm really passionate about what I do, let me share this with you. You know, it's not in a way where it's like very tedious and boring and like, you know, or like they're complaining or venting to you about their job. They love their job and they're really good at what they do. I think they're very respected in their field. You know, they have a good position at their job, they have a stable income. So yes, I think this person like has something to offer with the treasure chest. You know, they definitely bring something to the table here. And yeah, I mean, they have also the financial ability to take you on nice dates and take you to nice places and, you know, treat you or, you know, show up at your door with a nice gift kind of thing. Yeah. I also feel like we have, I didn't mention this, but we also have the 10th house here. So yes, like their career is a huge aspect of their life. That's an area of their life that they put a lot of effort into, and I definitely feel like it's going to be a topic of conversation on your dates. But I think also this person is of either a high status in general or just a higher status than you are. So there may be a little bit of a difference in your financial situations, Or if you are watching this and you're like, well, I'm really well off financially, then this person is really, really, really foiling. You know what I mean? Like this person, yeah, there's something there about their status, but I don't think that they ever make you feel, they never put you in a position where you feel like they are, like you're at some sort of disadvantage. You know what I mean? Like they don't make you feel like they're doing so much for you and you have to compensate. You know, like there's not a power indifference there. Also here with Libra and the fact that we have Robin Hood and Julius Caesar, like this person has a very strong moral compass, and like again, like they have like their own code of conduct. Like they have their own, this person holds themselves to a really high standard, and it's not ego based. It's more so that they just want to be the best that they can be, and they really only feel like they're in competition with themselves. Like even though they're of a high status, they're not standing there looking around comparing themselves to other people. You know, like they're not really concerned with what other people are doing. Like yes, they're ambitious, but it's for the sake of making themselves proud, maybe making their family proud too, but mostly making themselves proud. And so I feel like you're going to be very impressed with this person's accomplishments and achievements. I feel like you're going to be equally impressed with how humble they are and how good-natured they are and how honest they are. And I feel like you're going to feel very safe and secure with this person. I'm picking up a very grounded, earthy energy from them. And also we have Mercury and Libra here, so they could also have some air sign placements. But I really feel like that Libra energy is speaking to how much they value justice and honesty and fairness. This person could also do something in relation to the legal system for their job, or they could work for the government. They could have some sort of position that's a government position. I also feel like conversation between you two will flow really well. I do think you'll talk a lot about, you know, like goals and like your routines and like what you value and what you believe in. You may even talk politics. You may find that you have similar political or religious beliefs. You know, like people say don't talk about politics and religion, you know, or your belief systems, but you can absolutely discuss that with this person and it not be an issue. You know, like it feels like nothing is off the table. Like you two can talk about anything. This person's just so respectful. I think that is something that comes through very strongly, is they're very respectful. And yeah, with this little symbol here, this also came out in pile 1, and in pile 1 I got the energy of like asking 20 questions and, you know, being inquisitive and curious and wanting to know more. And with you all, it's more so, it's coming through more so like you two share like mutual interests. Like there's going to be at least one topic of conversation that you both get really excited to talk about. And it's going to be something that you typically aren't able to talk about with other people. And it may be something that one of you knows a lot about and the other person doesn't know anything about it and they're very curious to know more. Or it's going to be something that you guys both really enjoy. So it could go either way. But there's going to be one topic of conversation that you guys end up spending like hours on, you know, that's going to be kind of surprising, I think. See if anything else comes up. This person has very good hygiene, and I know that may sound silly to say, but not everyone does. And so, yeah, I feel like this person is like well-groomed. Yeah, you're going to be impressed with the way that they're dressed for dates, the way they smell, you know, like you're going to like all that. They seem very like clean cut and styled, you know. Let's see. I think there's also with Libra here, that's Venus energy. So there's a lot of mutual physical attraction right away, right off the bat. Yeah, I think that's all that I'm getting here. I don't think that you're gonna have a lot of spontaneity in this connection. Like, I feel like this person likes to be super organized. and picking up like a type A kind of energy from them. So yeah, I think if you're looking for like adventure, you may have to bring out that side to them if that's what you're into, because I think that they definitely prefer structure. Pile two, pile two. What do we need to know about you dating this person? Pile two, please, Spirit. And a big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. Pile two. Also with the broom, like if there's something that goes wrong, this is the person that you want to have by your side. Like if there's ever any kind of crisis or something goes wrong on your date, like maybe you have a flat tire or something like that, this person can fix it. You know, this person can handle anything. With the Devil card coming out, I do feel like there's a strong physical connection here. Things may move faster than you originally planned in terms of physical intimacy. Like maybe you have a rule for yourself, like, you know, I can't sleep with someone until this. And you may just find yourself bending the rules for this person. Also, like, I just feel like this person, again, with the Devil card, like, they just have a real sense of, like, what is right and what is wrong. And so they just carry themselves in that manner. And I think that you're going to really respect that when you're dating them, especially if you have dealt with people who were really shady, like they didn't tell you they were seeing multiple people or they lied about it. I had a friend who went on a date with someone that they met on a dating app, and when they went to the bathroom and they came out, they saw that this person was on the dating app on their date, you know, like sitting at the table, like scrolling through the app, you know, while they went to the bathroom. And I'm like, that is so disrespectful. So, you know, that kind of shady behavior, you know, you will not encounter that with your future spouse. Thank goodness. You don't have to worry about that. That is not going to be an issue here. Now with the Sun, I feel like you guys are going to have so much fun together and you are going to be so happy. I do feel like you help this person unwind. Like, they love their job and they love what they do and they're good at what they do, but because of that, they have a tendency to overwork themselves or to bring their work home, because in their mind, they don't separate work from home because they enjoy their work, so it doesn't feel like work to them, even though it still is. And they may even work from home, but which would make it even more difficult, right? But they have a tendency to overwork themselves and burn out because of that. You know, they overestimate how much they can do, and they underestimate, you know, just the stress of, you know, even doing what you love doing can build up over time. Like, we all need time for rest and play. And so this is also Capricorn energy, and so we've got Capricorn twice now with the 10th house. So I definitely feel like this person has a strong work ethic, but almost to their own detriment at times. And so I feel like you're really good for them in that way, where, you know, you encourage them to, it's almost like they start to put work on the back burner for you a little bit. Like, I think that before they meet you, their whole life is about work, and you help them get out of that grind by them just wanting to see you more. You know, so they're willing to make time in their schedule. And so they carve out that time for you. They make that time for you. And by doing so, yeah, they sacrifice some of their work time, but they kind of need to, like, you know, they're working too much. So I think that you're really good for their mental health in that way. I also feel like again, even if you are well off financially, with the Ace of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles here, I do feel like this person raises your financial status. And this person may be like old money, you know? They may come from a very wealthy background and have access to a lot of resources. But again, like even if you are well off financially, I feel like this person is just in another stratosphere of financial wealth. This person is just very well off financially. And I think that's really nice that even if they are someone who comes from a very wealthy background, they weren't complacent in that. Like they still worked hard, you know, to achieve their own success. You know, they didn't just, you know, they're not just like living off of a trust fund kind of thing. Although if you have a trust fund, good for you. I wish I had one. Okay. And then with Strength here, I like the companionship here. This card came out in pile 1 as well, but it's in a different energy with this group. It really feels like, okay, 2 messages here, 2 messages. It feels like there's a real sense of partnership here, and also a respect for what the other person needs. You know, like she has tamed this lion. She hasn't forced this lion by her side with like brute force. You know, she hasn't forced anything with the lion. She has met the lion on its own terms and has developed a bond with the lion, right? The untamable thing has been tamed but not by punishment or by oppression, right? And so that's like the nature of inner strength. Well, in terms of like, how do we apply this to your dating life with your future spouse? This is like they're not forcing anything with you. You know, like they're meeting you where you're at. So if you meet your future spouse and, you know, you're only comfortable talking on the phone and you don't even want to go out on a date with them until you've talked on the phone with them for a couple weeks, they would respect that. You know, if you were only comfortable seeing them on a first date like during the day, like if you meet them online and you're like, I don't want to go out at night, I'm only comfortable, you know, meeting you during the daytime in a public space, you know, for my own safety, you know, kind of thing, they would respect that. You know, if you weren't comfortable with them coming inside, you know, if they drove you home after a date, you know, they would respect that. Like they don't push you towards anything that you're uncomfortable with, and I think they earn your trust in that way. They also are very accepting of your shadow side with the black cat here. They're very respectful of that. You know, like I'm not respectful. I keep saying respectful. They're very accepting of that. Yeah, they don't judge you. They don't judge you in any kind of way, you know, because they understand their own. They have a lot of self-awareness. Like they understand that sometimes they're too blunt, or sometimes they are too like self-disciplined and it's kind of irritating to other people, or they understand like their type A tendencies or their bossiness can get on other people's nerves. You know, like they get that they have their own kind of flaws, and so they're very accepting when maybe you're a little bit dramatic or you're a little bit you know, like whatever your shadow side is, they're very accepting of that. And I think they also admire your confidence, and especially if you come from a more humble background and you're really self-made, they're going to have a lot of respect for that. And this person just has a lot of admiration for you, I think. They see everything that you've worked hard for, and they're very proud of you, but not in a condescending kind of way. I hope that makes sense. Okay, let's get into your oracle now. With the Sun and the Strength card next to each other, either you or your future spouse could also have some Leo placements. I don't know if I said that before. All right, pile 2, dating your future spouse. What do we need to know? Oh my gosh, we have fertility. I was giving pile 1 a hard time about unexpected pregnancies. With your group though, that could also be a message. But in all seriousness though, I feel like this is someone who you really do see a future with early on, and you feel like this is someone you could build with, and I think that's a mutual feeling, especially because your future spouse is so goal-oriented. Like, they don't even casually date anyway. You know what I mean? Like, they are so much about their work life that they don't have time for that. Like, I don't feel like your future spouse is someone who would just casually date someone just for the sake of it, you know? Like, if they're dating someone, it's because they're looking to get married. You know what I mean? Like, they're just very goal, or at least a long-term partnership or someone they can live with. You know, like, your future spouse is the kind of person that, you know, yes, they may just have casual hookups, but they wouldn't casually date. Like, they would see that as a waste of time. And they may be the type of person that doesn't have casual hookups and doesn't do anything but seriously date people. You know, I could see it going one way or the other, but I definitely think that casual dating to them just seems like a waste of time. With happiness too, I feel like you guys just enjoy being in each other's presence. Like, you would be the kind of group where you could have like a standing date with this person. Like, every Friday night we meet, we go out to dinner, we see a movie, we go for drinks. And you could do that every single Friday night and be perfectly content. Like, you could be perfectly happy with that. Like, there's no, like, the entertainment is each other. Like, you don't care what you're doing. You could be doing the same old, and still have a great time because you're with each other. Like, what you're doing together doesn't really matter on your dates as long as you're together. Like, that's the energy. Like, you don't really even care what you're doing. You don't, you know, like, there's no, like, oh, this is boring. You're entertained by each other, you know, so it doesn't even matter what you're doing. So I don't see there being, like, not that there's not effort put into planning the dates, but I don't feel like it's anything elaborate. Like, you're not going skydiving with this person, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, if it's just a nice restaurant, then great. Like, that's enough for you two. Like, you guys don't really, yeah, you just like being in each other's company and spending time together. We have retreat, stop the spin. Yes, like, you help them so much. Like, get out of that workaholic mode and just relax. And that could also be why there's a real easiness to your dates. Like, you do things together that are very relaxing, you know, where you can just spend time together, enjoying each other. You know, you're not like going out there and climbing a mountain together, you know, like, you guys are at the spa, you know, you're not, you know, like, it's just, you know, you're lounging by a pool kind of energy, you're chilling at home watching Netflix kind of energy. We have truth, let it show. This person will always be very honest with you about what they're thinking and how they're feeling, and it may even be a little bit too honest at times, like, but this person isn't gonna lie to you, you know, they're gonna tell you how they feel and, you know, be very straightforward with you about it. You know, like, if this person had to cancel a date, they wouldn't make up an excuse that wasn't true, you know, like, if they just weren't in the mood, if they were tired from work or frustrated about something and they just wanted to be alone, they would tell you that, you know, like, this person just really values honesty. Like, that's one of their core their core values. And sometimes, you know, you may wish, like, that kind of hurts my feelings. Like, I kind of wish you would lie and make up some dumb excuse, but, you know, it's going to depend upon your personality. That may be something that you just have to get used to. This person isn't the type to lie to spare somebody's feelings, you know? Like, if you're wearing something and you ask them, hey, like, do you like my dress or my shoes? If they think it's ugly, they're probably going to tell you. I do not like that. So, you know, if you don't want the truth, be careful what you ask them. We have glow up, self-improvement, and awakens. I really feel like you two bring out the best in each other. I do feel like you highlight each other's positive qualities. I do feel like you build off of one another's strengths. I also feel like, I mean, this person literally could have gone through a glow up, but I also feel like just in general, you're both helping each other. Like, they're improving your financial situation. And again, even if your financial situation is good, theirs is even better. And I think that you're helping them see value in life outside of work. You know, like you're helping them see value in play and relaxation and rest. With communication here, I do think that communication is always going to be very consistent with you two. You definitely check in with each other. You know, there's not going to be like you go out on a date and you don't hear from them for 3 weeks. You know, it's not like that. They're definitely going to always be the first person to reach out, kind of thing. We've got soulmate here, strong connection, romance, and friendship. Yeah, this feels very solid. This feels very, very solid. I think the beauty here is that so far we've got a lot of grounded messages and, you know, kind of like an earth sign energy from them. And now we're getting like the spiritual connection is also there. So that's beautiful to see. With triggered here, emotional, provoked, and overthinking, I do think that if, you know, given that we have soulmate here, I do think there may be some things that you're meant to learn from each other. And given that we also have glow up here, like you're meant to grow together as a result of this connection. So there could be like, you know, maybe some arguments happen on some of your dates, you know, or maybe there's a misunderstanding, but it's meant to make you stronger as a couple, and you're meant to have those experiences before you get engaged and get married. You know, you're meant to work through these issues now before you take, or when you're with them, you know, before you take those next steps, so you have that solid foundation and you can have a, you know, a long-lasting marriage. And then we have crossroads, choices, and different options. So you could be at a situation like when you meet your future spouse, you're actually dating other people and you have to make a choice. You know, you have multiple options in love, and, you know, this ends up being the person that you choose. Or, you know, some of you, this could be kind of messy and you're with someone else at the time that you meet your future spouse. And you have to choose to leave that connection, or that could be your future spouse's situation. It could also be speaking to the fact that maybe you have different approaches in life, and that is why sometimes there's a disconnect. You know, like maybe you just really value like your personal time, your me time is more important to you than making like X amount of dollars or being at a certain position in your job. And you guys may just not see eye to eye on that, you know, like it may bother you that this person cares so much about, you know, their career status or position, that kind of thing. So you may just have like slightly different values in relation to like time and money and family and rest and that kind of thing. You know, like where are your priorities versus where are their priorities may not always line up, and that may be, you know, a bit triggering to you because you may take it the wrong way. And, you know, it could be also the same for them as well. But you're meant to grow together and learn from each other, because I feel like you guys have like opposite strengths. And so then you help each other in the areas that you're, you know, more deficient in. Okay. Let's get these cards next. Okay. I don't know if I'm following the same order that I did in pile 1. Hopefully I am. Who knows? Probably not. All right, pile 2, dating your future spouse. What do we need to know? Pile 2. Wow, that really wanted to come out. We have peacock here. I definitely feel like your future spouse is someone that people notice, and I don't think you're excluded from that. Like, I feel like your future spouse has a strong presence about them. I don't think that they're arrogant in any kind of way, but they do carry themselves with confidence, and they definitely know who they are. They're comfortable with who they are, and you know, they show up as their authentic self, and that is naturally attractive to people. And so, you know, if you're a more jealous or possessive person, you know, you're kind of like, you know, what's mine is mine and what's yours is yours, and you stay over there. You know, you may get a bit flustered on dates if you see other people checking out your future spouse, you know, or flirting with your future spouse. You know, that may irritate you, but I do think you can be confident in that your future spouse just has eyes for you. I don't think that they would play into that, you know, because again, they have that strong moral compass. Now with the lantern here, this always reminds me of the Hermit card. So this could also be speaking to the fact that one of you is an extrovert and the other person is an introvert, and that could be where you guys are a little bit mismatched. And remember how I said, like, you build off of each other's strengths, but you have like opposite strengths. So that could be where, you know, you like one of you wants to be more sociable and the other person just wants to talk privately, you know, so that kind of thing. Like, there could be a little bit of a mismatch in terms of, you know, being in a crowded public space versus staying at home, you know, that kind of thing, in terms of how you plan your dates. With lantern too, like, it just makes me think of like following the light, like following a certain truth. I really feel like you can always trust this person to tell the truth. We have braid here. In the context of this reading, this reminds me of sexuality. So again, I think like physical attraction between you two is going to be very strong. Physical intimacy is going to be a significant part of this connection. I wouldn't be surprised if your future spouse's love language is physical touch. I could definitely see that being a thing. Physical touch and gift giving for them would be two that I would say would be significant. I think they also could just really, really love your hair. Or you could really love their hair. Maybe you're a couple who has great hair. And maybe you'll pass that on to your children if you have any. I'm being silly. But yes. I also think of, you know, Samson and Delilah. You know, when she cuts off his hair and the idea of power there. I do feel like you guys could be a power couple together, and I also feel like you both are willing to adapt. You both are willing to adapt and grow as you need to sustain the connection, because you understand that you're better together, and you both respect the role in which you play in the connection. Okay? And this is definitely a connection where there are set roles. I will say that. Like, everything is so structured about this. And then we have freedom here. I really love that, because ideally what you want in a connection is safety and stability and security. You know, someone who has your back, someone who has, you know, someone who's like your rock, someone that you can depend upon. But you also want to be with someone who gives you the space and the freedom to be your authentic self, and someone who trusts you enough to let you go do what you need to do. And so I feel like this is going to be a really healthy connection. I also feel like, again, in terms of your dates, like you really encourage your future spouse to do things outside of their comfort zone. And I kind of feel like there's going to be a point in your dating life with them where you say, why don't you let me plan our next date? And they're like, okay, what are we gonna do? And you're like, you'll see. And that drives them a little bit crazy, because they're so type A and they want to be, you know, in control and in charge. And it's not that they don't trust you, it's just how they are in like all aspects of their life. And so you're gonna sort of encourage a more like free-flowing, spontaneous side to them, you know, like, let me be in charge of this, let me take the reins, and they're gonna be a little bit nervous about that, but I think ultimately it's gonna be good for them because you're gonna, again, get them out of their comfort zone a little bit. You guys are gonna make so many good memories together. I feel like your dates are gonna be dates that you remember. You know, you're gonna reminisce about these dates when you've been married for a really long time and you're settled, and you're gonna be like, remember the time when we were dating and when we went to this place, and remember the time when we were talking about this. You know, like you're always gonna remember those sort of early months, years together when you were dating, and you're gonna look fondly, you know, on those memories that you made. And I definitely feel like the memories you make on your dates are gonna build that foundation for a healthy marriage, which is really good to see. Okay, I'm just looking around to make sure that I haven't missed any oracle decks. I think we have everything. So we're gonna end your reading with this card. This is a message from your future spouse's higher self. What do they want you to know at the time of you watching this reading? So it says, secret admirer. Someone has deeper feelings for you than they are letting on. Okay, so this person could be watching you for This person could be watching you from afar. You could already know this person, or this could be speaking to the fact that you'll meet them on an online dating app, and maybe they check out your profile a couple times before they send that first message. Or, you know, this is someone that you have a mutual friend or mutual acquaintance with. You could work with this person, and, you know, they're a bit hesitant to ask you out on a date because they work with you. This could be so many things, right? Like, they could be checking you out on social media before they actually ask you out, or they can meet you in a public, crowded space, see you from across the room, like in a movie, and then approach you, kind of thing. So yeah, anyway, pile 2. This was your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope you enjoyed it. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, hitting the notification bell so you always know when I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to simply watch the ads. I know they're annoying, so thank you if you choose to do that. What else was I gonna say? Oh, a huge thank you to everyone who's been supporting the channel thus far. It's been really exciting to see our community grow. I hope to do this full time one day, so fingers crossed. And I will see you all in my next one. Take care, Pile 2, and I'm wishing you the very best. Hey Pile 3, welcome to your reading. So we're actually going to save this card for the very end, and what we're going to do instead is start with your dice. So I think it's very cute. I just want to point out that you guys got the candle, and then you also chose the token that says candlelit dinner. So I just like that little confirmation synchronicity. It's a good way to start off your reading. Very cool. I also pre-rolled the dice because I was concerned about the noise level for those of you who are wearing earbuds. I didn't want to have it be super loud, so that's why everything is already done here. Now I'll say right off the bat, given that we have the 3rd house here, you could go on a lot of group dates with your future spouse. So maybe your first date with them is a double date, or maybe you and your future spouse have mutual friends in common or mutual acquaintances, or maybe your future spouse is really close with their family. And so when you go out on dates with them, sometimes those dates will be to family functions or group events, or hey, my coworker's having a barbecue this weekend, do you want to come with me? Or hey, my cousin is throwing a family reunion, or my best friend is hosting a bowling night or something. So it could be something like that. It could also be that your future spouse has kind of like a hangout spot. They're taking me to like how in the TV show Friends, like everyone gathered at this one coffee shop, or in How I Met Your Mother, they all the friends gather at a bar. So something like that, like your future spouse has someplace they like to go with their friends, and they would likely take you there. So maybe they have like a favorite restaurant or a favorite coffee shop or bookstore, you know, somewhere where they go with their friends a lot, and they would like to take you along. It could also be that meeting your future spouse's friends and family is a big deal to them, and you know, part of dating them is getting to know their social circle and their family. I think that your future spouse is a very sociable person, and you know, it does matter to them like what their friends think of you and what their family thinks of you. And it's just because they're close with those people. It's not because your future spouse doesn't have a mind of their own or anything like that. But I do think it does matter to them. I wouldn't say they need approval or validation from their family, but more so that they value their family's opinion. And they've probably in the past, maybe they've had situations where they didn't listen to their family and friends and it ended badly for them, you know, or they just really respect the opinion of their family, and you know, it's just important to them. I wouldn't worry. I'm sure their family and friends will like you a lot. I have a video on my channel that talks about this, so if you look that up, you know, what will your future spouse's family and friends think about you? I do have a video about that on my channel if you are concerned, but I don't think you need to worry. Now, with Pisces being here, I do think that sometimes, because Pisces represents two fish swimming in the opposite direction, I do think sometimes you and your future spouse may clash a little bit when you're dating in terms of like what you're gonna do on the date, or like where you're gonna eat, or yeah, or even like how frequently you should see each other. Like there may be a little bit of an adjustment period as you get to know each other, because I do think both of you have very strong personalities, and this is kind of a situation of like opposites attract. Also, there's children playing outside, so I hope that they're not being too loud in the background. I really have to film like today to not get behind on my schedule because I've been sick. So I'm sorry about the background noise if you can hear it. But yeah, I do feel like this is a situation of opposites attract. And so sometimes like you need to get out of your comfort zone, and sometimes they need to get out of theirs. And so yeah, you guys may be at a little bit of an impasse sometimes, but I do think that's kind of what adds the spice to your relationship, because I do think this is a dynamic where you kind of like that little bit of push and pull. Not that you're fighting or arguing, because it's not like that. It's just more of like there's a banter between you two. Like you like to fuss a little bit, but not in a serious way, more of in a joking way. And I do think it's very good for you both to get out of your comfort zone and try new things, and you know, like be more open, I guess. And now with Mercury here, I do think communication is really strong between you two. And that's why I said I don't think that you're arguing. I think that you have like a witty banter back and forth, because this is Gemini energy as well. So I do think that, as well as Virgo, I do think that you guys like that aspect of like verbally sparring with one another, but again, in more of like a joking way, not in a serious, I'm so angry at you kind of way. I think other people get a kick out of like watching you guys go back and forth too. Yeah, I think it's very entertaining, and I think it speaks to how strong your connection is, right? Because you can't do that with everybody, right? Like some people get really offended, and you know, you can't tease them, you know, they're too, you know, some people are a little bit too uptight for that, or they let their ego get the best of them. Whereas with you two, you can be playful and, you know, kind of tease each other, kind of shade each other a little bit, and it's just funny to watch, and it's fun for you guys to, you know, banter back and forth. Neither one of you, you know, you don't take yourself so seriously, and your future spouse also kind of has that energy to them as well. So I do think that's where you find your common ground, is that, you know, as different as you both are, you still share the same sense of humor, and you're both really smart, and you're both very, you're able to engage in like that kind of self-deprecating kind of humor. Because again, like you're humble people. You don't let your ego, you know, get in the way of, you know, having a good laugh kind of thing. It's almost kind of like a British sense of humor, to be honest. Okay, so now with this candle here, I do think there's a lot of romance here. I definitely think out of all three groups today, you might be like the most overtly spicy connection. I definitely think that you two are very like touchy-feely with one another. I definitely think that you may not be comfortable with public displays of affection now, but I think that something happens to you when you get with your future spouse. I think they bring out that side to you, because they are absolutely going to be like holding your hand, putting their arm around you, kissing you, all that kind of stuff, like any excuse to touch you, like they will find it kind of thing. Yeah, there's a real sense of romance here. I definitely think that as much as you have like these casual dates with like friends and family at like group events and things like that, you also have really meaningful like one-on-one dates where, you know, it's like classic romance. You know, it's a nice restaurant with a white tablecloth and someone brushing away the breadcrumbs off the table. I remember the first time I went to a restaurant where they were cleaning the breadcrumbs as we were eating, and I like come from a very like poor family, and so it was so uncomfortable. I was like, is this how other people like, I don't know, it was just a weird thing. I was like eating my bread and like being so concerned about the amount of breadcrumbs because they kept having to come over and sweep them off the table. I'm getting off topic, but it's that kind of restaurant though. You know, you might go to like nice wineries, or I really feel like you guys really like to eat and drink. There's a sense here of like indulgence, like you guys both like to enjoy life to the fullest, and kind of like a Taurus kind of energy too, like you both appreciate luxury and like the finer things. And you know, again, if that's not something you're into now, that may be your future spouse's influence on you, because we did get that message about opposites attracting. But I definitely think that at the very least, your future spouse is into this kind of stuff and they introduce that to you. But yeah, I definitely think this is the person who's picking you up in a really nice car and taking you out to a fancy restaurant and, you know, having a nice bottle of wine or whatever it is that you drink, and, you know, no care in the world about how much money is being spent, you know, and yeah, like definitely also the type of person who would take you for like a weekend getaway, but it would be very like, everything about the dates is kind of like very classic romance. You know what I mean? Like the kind of romantic getaways and dates that you would see in like a rom-com. Like maybe they take you to a nice ski lodge, and you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. A cocoa by the fire, and then there's like a nice hot tub, and you know, that kind of thing. I don't know, everything feels very classic. Like there's no, oh, let me take you to this like hole-in-the-wall restaurant that no one's heard of, and like it looks sketchy on the outside, but the food is really good. It's not that, you know, and that may be like your jam. That may be what you're super into, but when you're dating your future spouse, that is not the case. You know, like your future spouse, I feel like would turn their nose up at that kind of thing. They're like, nah, we're not going there. We're not doing that. And that maybe that push and pull that we were talking about, if that sounds like something you would be into, they're like, nope, we're not doing that. With the crown here, like definitely gonna treat you like royalty. I think that there's a little bit of an energy here of like a Victorian style kind of dating, like, oh, let me open the door for you, oh, let me help you over this rain puddle, that kind of thing. I do feel like they're quite protective over you with this dragon here. They definitely, there may be a little bit of a possessive streak in your future spouse's energy. Now, we all have our flaws, we all have our shadows, right? We all have stuff we can work on. Not every message is going to be super rosy. You know, it's not all rainbows and sunshine. I do feel like your future spouse kind of has this energy of you're mine and I am yours. At least it's balanced, you know? They're not being possessive over you while meanwhile they're out here being messy and seeing other people. You know, they're not doing that. But I do think that's part of why they show so much PDA with you, is because they want to send out this message that this person is mine, you know? So even before you're engaged, I think that they're always gonna have their arm around you. They're always gonna be holding your hand, or, you know, they're just gonna kind of act a certain way when you guys are in public and on dates together that shows other people in the room like, this person is mine, this person is taken. You know, if some other person is coming up and trying to talk to you, or if the server is flirting with you, they would definitely take an issue with that. I'm not saying that they would embarrass you in public or anything like that, but you can tell. Like, even if they don't say anything, I think their facial expression would give them away. Like, you could tell, like, their jaw might tighten, you know, like, you can tell it bothers them, you know, their shoulders are tensed, you know. I feel like as connected as you two will be, you'll pick up on their like nonverbal body cues and see like, oh, okay, yeah, that kind of ticked them off, you know. So yeah, that might just be something to look out for. And now with the little frog prince here, I do feel like there is kind of this duality to your connection where this person is like your prince or princess, charming. You know, they are like everything that you could ever want in a person. You know, they're your future spouse, they're the one. But then there's this other side to it where they're so unexpected. Like, this is not the person or the type of person that you expected to end up with. You know, like, if you're the type of person who has a list of everything you think you want in a partner, I don't think this person necessarily matches that list. And I think it's gonna surprise you, and it's going to be like, this is everything that I didn't know that I needed, and everything that I didn't know that I wanted. You know, like, it's gonna, I think, take you by surprise that this is the one for you kind of thing. Yeah, I feel like that's probably why your relationships prior to this person didn't work out, because you were seeking out someone that, or a type of person that just wasn't gonna fulfill you in the end, you know? I also feel like there might be a little bit of an energy as well in terms of like your dating life, where you feel like your future spouse is really trying to lock you down. You know, like, I definitely feel like your future spouse is very confident that you're the one for them. And I think that's why they are so open about, you know, having you spend time with their friends and family, because they do feel so confident about the connection, like even early on when you're dating. But I think that there's gonna be several dates where you think that they're going to propose and then they don't. And I kind of feel like it's a little bit of a cat and mouse game that your future spouse is playing with you. If you ever watch The Office, Jim and Pam, like when they finally got together, he kept messing with her and pretending like he was gonna propose. He essentially told her that he was going to, and he reveals to the audience that he bought the ring like on, you know, after their first date or something like that. Or like, you know, as soon as they got together. But he kept holding out on her because he knew that she knew he was going to propose. So he would do stupid things, like he would act like he was, you know, he would get on one knee, but really he was just tying his shoe, you know, that kind of thing. So it may be a little bit of a game your future spouse plays with you, where they act like they're going to propose, but then they don't, or they make you think that they're going to propose. Like they plan the most perfect evening and all your friends and family are there and you're like, oh, they're going to propose, I know it, and then they don't, you know. And so I think it's because they really want to surprise you. And, you know, so you may know they've already bought a ring and, you know, they've already told you that they're going to propose, or maybe you find the ring because you're snooping around, that kind of thing. But yeah, I keep laughing and smiling so much because I feel like you two mess around with each other a lot. Like I feel like you guys play a lot of pranks on each other. I feel like that's part of your dynamic. That's also what Jim and Pam do. They play pranks. You guys might be like Jim and Pam. But yeah, I feel like you guys like to tease each other a lot, and I do feel like they may do like a fake out with you a couple of times in terms of the proposal. Now with the windmill here, I think this may have come out in every single reading. Maybe I'm wrong. But I definitely feel like your future spouse is going to put in a lot of work into the connection. They're definitely going to show you that they're making an effort on the dates, you know. They're going to make you feel like you're a priority, like you matter. And I also feel like this kind of makes me feel like the Wheel of Fortune, but in terms of, there's one deck that I have where the Wheel of Fortune shows the different seasons on it, and it kind of makes me feel like in terms of how long you two date, you may date for a while before you end up getting engaged, like you, at least for a full calendar year is what I'm thinking, just because of that image of the different seasons on the windmill that came to mind. But you may find that your future spouse is really, really into holidays and like family traditions and that kind of thing. So again, I feel like your dating life with them, even if it takes a while for you two to actually get engaged and get married, which a year is like nothing, right? But I feel like by the time you do, like, you know, get engaged and all that, by the time that happens, I feel like you're already so entrenched in their life, because at that point you would have spent so much time with their family and their friends, and you're really enmeshed in their world. Like they've really shared their whole life with you, you know. There's like no surprises, you know, like everything is out in the open, like you know all there is to know. And I think that when you do say yes to their proposal, and I do feel like they're proposing to you, like gender doesn't matter here, I feel like they are proposing to you, I feel like you feel very confident about you know, about where the connection is and who they are and how you guys fit together. And yeah, like I don't feel like there are any surprises or any skeletons in their closet. You know who they are, and you know what the people in their life are like and all that good stuff. And you feel like part of the family is what I'm trying to say, by the time you get engaged, which is really nice. You know, there's no like, okay, now we're engaged, you need to go meet my parents. Like you've already done all that. You know, you're already part of the family. You're already part of the family traditions, and you celebrate holidays with them, and you know, you've met all their friends. And so I feel like when you get married, it's a lot less stressful planning the wedding and doing all that kind of stuff and moving in together, or you know, like however your timeline ends up going. You know, you may end up living together before you get engaged. Everyone's relationship's different. But I feel like there's a lot less pressure there, because you can feel so confident in saying yes, because you know, your dating life has really supported you getting to know them and their life, you know, like not just getting to know them as an individual, but getting to know them and how they fit and how you fit in the greater context of their life, you know? Like I think you would even probably know their coworkers, you know, or if they own their own business, their employees, like you know every aspect of their life really well. So again, like no surprises, which is really nice. Okay, let's get into your tarot now, because I've just been talking and talking, and I just want to make sure we're still filming. We are, okay. This is not the right deck. We're using the Green Witch Tarot for you guys. Sorry about that. All right, pile three, pile three. What will your dating life be like? And now that I'm thinking about it, I really like that I chose this deck for you, because this one, to me, always reminds me of traditions and holidays. Your future spouse could also really like the outdoors, given that we have the Green Witch Tarot for this group. So a lot of your dates could involve, you know, like I said, like going to a nice winery, or cooking a meal with like vegetables from the garden kind of thing. Or they might take you to a nice like mountain retreat. I don't think, again, it's very adventurous. I feel like this is like the type of group where if you go camping, you go glamping. Like everything is still very luxurious. I'm gonna move this over a little bit. I think I want one more card for this group, and then we'll get started. Yep. Okay, so we have the Page of Cups, we have the High Priestess, we have the Earth Mother, we have the Five of Wands, and we have the Horned God. Okay, I do feel like, now if this doesn't resonate, you can flip what I'm saying, absolutely, but I do kind of pick up that this is your future spouse's energy with the Horned God. I feel like they see you as this High Priestess and this Earth Mother like equally. I do feel like they see you in a very like mystical, divine, feminine, intuitive, dreamy kind of way. And they kind of see themselves as like your protector. Because remember how I said I was picking up that they could be like a little bit possessive? Like that kind of seems like the Horned God, right? Like he would, even has like a bow and arrow here, right? Like he wants to defend, he wants to protect. And you know, he definitely sees you in a way where, and I say he as in like the Horned God, divine masculine, not in terms of gender, but he sees you in a way where, yes, like you have your own strength, but there's a softness to you that should be protected. You know what I mean? Like, you know how there are those people, and I'm probably one of these people myself, where like, yes, like you're strong and you're resilient and you've been through so much in your life, but there is, I'm sorry, someone's pulling in my driveway. I don't know who that is. All right, anyway, I think it's someone delivering something. Okay, anyway. Like, yes, like you've been through so much, but you don't look like you have. You know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes people can make judgments or, you know, stereotype people based upon appearances, and so you may look like you haven't led a hard life, or you haven't been through challenges, or you just seem so innocent or so sweet, or at least that's how your future spouse is perceiving you. And so I do think that at least in the beginning of your relationship, they may kind of underestimate your life experiences, or it may see you as this like naive, sweet person, and like it's their role to protect you and make sure that you stay soft and make sure, you know, no harm comes to you. And I do think that as they get to know you, they're gonna understand like you are tough and you can stand on your own. But I kind of think that they like that, like they like this idea of protecting you and taking care of you and defending you. You know, like if anyone were to ever say anything bad about you or disparage you in any kind of way, like your future spouse would see it as their job to speak up for you and defend you. And it almost like wouldn't occur to them that you wouldn't need them to do that. It's not really about whether you need it or not. It's just more of they see it as their role. Like, that's my job. Like, I'm their partner. It's my job to speak up for them, advocate for them, protect them. Like, that's just my job. And you know, like, you may like that or you may not, depending upon your personality. But I do think that there is an aspect, you know, like the high priestess and the earth mother, the empress, like, come on. Like, there is this attitude where they're idealizing you a bit, right? You know, like, and that's understandable, right? When you're dating, you're in that honeymoon phase, like, they absolutely are idealizing you, you know? And as they get to know you and develop a more authentic relationship and the honeymoon phase ends, then I think they're gonna appreciate you for how strong you are, but I think that's gonna come later, okay? Gotta call it like I see it. Now with this Five of Wands, there may literally be competition. Like, you may be dating other people or seeing someone else, or there may be someone else in the picture at the time that you meet your future spouse, and that's why they come through with this strong divine masculine energy, like trying to be the seeker, trying to be the chaser, and, you know, trying to win you over, so to speak, because there is competition. So it kind of depends upon your dating life, right? With the Page of Cups, though, there is going to be a lot of flirtatious energy and playfulness that we've already picked up on. It kind of also feels like with the High Priestess here and the Earth Mother, though, that this may be someone that you ended up manifesting. But I think it's kind of one of those things of like, be careful what you wish for. Like, I feel like maybe you manifested your divine counterpart, but you thought your divine counterpart was gonna meet that list that we talked about earlier, but Spirit was like, oh, no, boo, like, your divine counterpart is not who you're expecting, is not anything like your list. You can toss that list to the side because we know better, and we're gonna bring in the person who you have a real soul connection with, and you're gonna be like, this person, and Spirit is like, yeah, that person. So yeah, I do feel like this person is definitely different than your usual type. Also, like, look at the tattoos and the muscles. This horned god is cracking me up. Like, yeah, that may be a little hint there towards their physical appearance. I am going to be doing a future spouse's physical appearance video because it's been requested quite a bit, and I've just been putting it off, and I know I need to just go ahead and film it. It's one of those videos where I'm going to have to figure out how to make it a little bit longer so it's not super short. But yeah, people have definitely been requesting it, so I am going to be putting that together for you all. So make sure you're subscribed and you have the notification bell on so you're aware of when that happens. I also feel like they're going to be very into your hair. I don't know why. It's just like a separate message that came through, but they really, really love your hair. In terms of like your physical body, they're very attracted to you as well. They definitely, I feel like they want kids with you. I don't know how you feel about that. That may be a conversation to have or a compromise that may need to be made, but they definitely could see you being an amazing parent and they would love to have children with you. Given how close this person is to their family, I could definitely see them wanting a family of their own. That also, with that Five of Wands, it could also be that maybe when you're dating, you kind of struggle, or they struggle, or both of you maybe have this issue of balancing out like time with family and friends and work and self-care and like all that kind of stuff, or even taking care of your pet. You know, whatever matters in your life, whatever you typically make a priority, you may find it difficult to balance that out with spending time with your future spouse and dating them. You know, it just may be that both of you are super busy and it's kind of hard to find time to go out on a date together, and that may be, you know, something that you guys have to work out together. I also feel like with the High Priestess, even though this person is very different than the type of partner that you usually date or were expecting to date, I do feel like there is definitely like a red string of fate energy here. Like there is a psychic connection there. Like you are intuitively drawn to this person. And again, like I think it's very surprising to you, but it's absolutely there. I also feel like you two could be very successful together. Like I definitely feel like you guys could build something really incredible together. So if you wanted to go into business together, I think that would be very fruitful. I also feel like with this Page of Cups here, this could also be speaking to a child that you may have in the future. So again, like if that's not your message, that's not your message, but you could be having a little Scorpio, Cancer, or Pisces baby. That maybe, this is showing a little girl here, so maybe a baby girl, but again, if that's not your message, just leave it. Also, the way she's throwing these flowers in here, like, makes me think of like cooking with like spices. So yeah, one of you may love to cook, and that may be something that you guys do for each other, where, or maybe just one of you, but maybe you bring like, you know, some fresh baked cookies to your partner on the date, or maybe that's something they do for you. I don't know why I decided to grab more tarot, but my hands just kind of did it on their own, so I guess that's what we're doing now. Sometimes that happens and it's so random. Okay, Six of Pentacles. Oh, I love this. Okay, I'm glad I did this. Yeah, there's such a nice, every group today has had some kind of message about balance, and that's one thing that is so important in a love connection, is to have equal give and take, like people who are willing to give, but then also willing to receive, like, and that's a big thing. Like you have to be willing to do both. You can't always be the giver and you can't always be the receiver to have a happy, healthy connection. And I just think it's really beautiful that you can take on that role and sometimes they can take on that role, and then you guys can switch. So love to see that. And it's also showing a willingness to compromise. Like even though we had that message about you guys being kind of opposites, there's still a willingness there to compromise and meet in the middle, which you definitely need. Okay, we got hope, we've got courage, and then you got an extra card here of grounding. I do feel like this person helps you feel very safe. And you may like that. Like, you know, we also have desire. I can't help but see it. You may really like that, you know. I myself, like, I kind of get a little bit... saying agoraphobic sounds a bit strong, but I sometimes like have a habit of staying home a lot, because if it's dark outside, I'm like an old lady. I say old lady, I don't mean to be ageist. I'm like my grandma specifically. If it's dark outside, I will not leave my house by myself. Like I just will not do it. I will not, if I have to get something from the grocery store, too bad. Like it's gonna have to wait until tomorrow. Like I'm a small, petite person, and I don't want to be, I don't want to say something that could be triggering to someone else, but I don't want anything bad to happen to me. And I think that comes from like being a young woman, being on a college campus, and you know, they have to send out emails every time a certain thing happens on a college campus. I think you all know what I'm talking about. And it like freaks me out, and I've like carried that with me. Like, I'm always mindful of like where I'm at and who I'm with, and like, is this safe? And I think that's just unfortunately part of like being a woman. And so in our society, or at least the society that I live in, and like even the other week, like I was thinking about just driving up to the mountains on my own, and I wanted to go, because I wanted to go in a park, but I didn't want it to be like my local park. Like, I wanted to be out in nature. And then I thought to myself, like, is that safe? Like, going off by myself and walking on a trail like out in the middle of nowhere, like, is that really safe? And so I didn't go. And so there may be an energy there where you're grateful to your future spouse because they do make you feel safe. And so, you know, things that you wanted to do, you're now able to do because you have this partner who helps you feel like physically safe. So that's a very specific message, may not apply to everyone, but I mean, I was literally thinking about that myself. Like, I wish I had someone to go with, and then I could feel safe to do this on my own. Or not, you know, I could feel safe to do this and not be on my own, is what I meant to say. But yeah, so that's just a message that came through. But yeah, I do feel like in terms of desire, a lot of your dates could end with some physical intimacy, absolutely. I also feel like, again, like this person is just always gonna have their hands all over you, like they're very touchy-feely. And then with courage, I think this person like inspires this within you, because it's kind of like if someone makes you feel safe and grounded and secure, it's almost like that gives you more freedom to do things that are outside of your comfort zone. It gives you the space to be bold because you know there's always going to be that safety net there to catch you. And so I do feel like on your dates, you could have certain conversations where you say like, I've always wanted to try this, or I've always wanted to do this. And you know, you share kind of like your apprehensions or like what's stopping you from doing that certain thing that you want to do. And I think your future spouse is really encouraging towards you, and they really make you feel like you can do it. And I think that support really inspires you to push yourself. And with hope too, I do feel like this person ends up being everything you've ever hoped for. I think it's kind of like, Spirit is kind of showing me this box, and the way that it's wrapped, you know, the way this gift is wrapped doesn't seem appealing to you. Like the outer layer of it, you're like, I don't know about this. And it just doesn't look like it's what you wanted. So, for example, say you were wanting a teddy bear and you get a gift that is shaped like a golf club. You're like, what is this? You know? It's kind of like that. And then you open it and it's everything you ever could have wanted and everything you ever could have hoped for. So I do think that if there's something about your future spouse's energy that doesn't seem appealing to you at first, you know, like maybe they talk too much, or, you know, like maybe you don't like having someone's hands all over you. Not that they're gonna do that when they first meet you, but you know, some people just like even talk too close to you, you know, those people who like just don't give you enough space. You know, or maybe your future spouse is like overly flirtatious with you, you know, on your first meeting or something like that. You know, I think that there may be like a little bit of a period before, you know, the frog turns into the prince or the princess or like whatever. So yeah, I do feel like ultimately this person is everything you ever could have hoped for. And again, I also am still picking up that feeling of luxury here, and yeah, just like wanting to live a good life and wanting to share that with someone else. wanting to experience life to the fullest and sharing that with someone else. I feel like your future spouse is kind of like they're working to build the life that they want, and they don't want to wait until they're at their end goal before they start to enjoy and share their life with someone. It's like they want someone to be by their side and along for the ride. They want someone to enjoy the process with them, you know, like, and that makes a lot of sense, you know, like, you know, so this could be, for example, you know, they want to buy their dream home, but they don't want to do that until they've met the one, because they want their partner to have a say in the house that they buy. So like, they don't want to give up their nice apartment and buy a house and then end up marrying somebody who hates their house. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't want to have to go back a couple steps, you know, when they meet their future partner. So there are some things that they're putting on hold in their life because they want to meet the one first, which is you, pile 3. All right, pile 3, what will it be like dating your future spouse? I feel like I've gone off on some weird tangents in this reading, and I hope it makes sense to you all. I feel like my brain is still foggy from being sick, so if it's a little bit more scattered than normal, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, reflection, get out of your box. Yeah, I feel like you guys really push each other in a very positive way. And didn't I say earlier that you guys were trying to live a life of indulgence, and then here's indulgence as your bottom of the deck energy? Yeah, trying to live a good life. But yeah, I do feel like you guys will do things that are outside of your comfort zone and things that are outside of their comfort zone. And I really feel like it's kind of just like this go with the flow, you know, like there are definitely times when you may want to say like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But I think ultimately, like, there's a reason why this person is your divine counterpart, you know, like there's a reason why you're meant to just go with it. And so I think that's good advice. Like, if you can remember this reading, like, don't push back so much. Like, you are meant to grow together. And so if they want to do something that seems like a little bit, and it can be as simple as like you've never tried, I don't know, like you've never tried Vietnamese food and they love Vietnamese food, and so they want to take you and you're like, no, like I just want to go to like our normal like go-to restaurant. It can be as simple as that, you know. And then with this indulgence card, like I do think that a lot of your dates will involve some aspect of luxury or pampering or just enjoying like the 5 senses, you know. Okay, so let's find out pile 3. What else do we need to know? Pile 3, about dating your future spouse. We have self-care. This reminds me of the episode of Parks and Rec where they're like, treat yourself, and they're like naming all of those like fancy things. I think they're like fine Italian leathers or massages. I don't know. They're like naming all these different things. It's like what your dates are like. It's just like, it's basically like a fancy self-care day. I also think with this self-love card here is that because they're so physically attracted to you and they're always like having their hands all over you and complimenting you and all that good stuff, and definitely their love language is physical touch. 100%. Because of that, I think that they're gonna give you a whole new appreciation for your body. And I think that if you have any insecurities, I do think they're gonna help you in that way. Because, I mean, like, we all have them, right? I just feel like they are gonna help you with your, you know, your self-confidence. And you deserve to feel this way now, but it's not, it's nothing to feel bad about, you know, like if you're not fully there, if you're not fully and totally in love and accepting of your body, like that's okay. Like, and if it And if it takes the support of your future spouse to help get you there, that's nothing to be ashamed of. That doesn't, if you're a woman, that doesn't make you any less of a feminist. Like, it's fine, you know, like, we're human. Woo! We've got music here. And then we got true love. See, true love, like soulmate, divine counterpart, twin flame, like whatever terminology you like. You know, like whatever true love means to you, divine union, that's another phrase. There it is. So happy to see that. You two lovebirds. I also think it's cute, like the lovebirds, and then you got the third house, Gemini. Gemini is represented by the birds. I just think that's so cute. Now, with music here, you guys could have similar taste in music. You could have a song, you know, where you're like, this is our song. You could go out to a lot of concerts together. Your future spouse could be a musician, so maybe you go to a lot of their shows. Maybe your future spouse really likes to dance. I could see them being into that. You guys could meet through social media, or you could document a lot of your dates on social media. If you're not on social media, that could definitely be your future spouse's thing. Like, you know, they're like, oh, like, I want to post this to our Instagram story or my Facebooks, especially if they're close with their family and friends. Like, if you guys go somewhere, if you go to like a nice winery, for example, like I could see them wanting to take pictures so that they could show, you know, their best friend or, you know, their family, like, hey, like, look at what we did this past weekend, you know, that kind of thing. Just also, I think I said, you know, you guys could meet through social media. I think I said that. If I didn't, I'm saying it now. And then we have lessons. Yeah, I feel like you're meant to learn a lot and grow a lot together because you are so different. And yeah, I do feel like this person is a real departure from the type of person you've been with in the past, and I think it's a good thing. If that was loud, I'm sorry, it sounded loud. Okay. Pile 3, what will dating your future spouse be like? Pile 3, what do we need to know? Pile 3. Okay, we've got communication here. Again, I feel like the witty banter is very strong here. Like, I feel like you're able to tease each other, and people who don't know you well as a couple may think that you're seriously arguing, but I think most people would be able to tell, like, they're just joking around with each other. Yeah, see, they are your safety net. Like, they're your safe haven. Like, you absolutely fully, like, trust them to protect you and keep you safe, and I think you feel very grounded and very stable with this person, especially if you're very spiritual, which you guys seem like you were with the High Priestess and the Empress. If you're a very spiritual person and you're in your head a lot and you're processing through a lot of like heavy energy, and then you're taking on other people's energy, especially if you're an empath and you're living in your higher chakras, like that can make you be very disconnected from your physical body. And I feel like your future spouse brings you back to your physical body, and I think that helps with the body positivity. That helps you feel more connected to your body. You feel, because I feel like maybe there's a tendency to neglect your physical body because you're in your higher chakras so much, because you're such a daydreamer, and yeah, like you're in your head, you're into this kind of thing. So I feel like that's like a positive influence they have on you. Yeah, I think that they would definitely remind you like to take care of yourself. And I feel like that also gives you the freedom and the space to, you know, do things that are outside of your comfort zone, because you know this person has my back, like, you know, even if I fail, they'll catch me, you know, that kind of thing. And then spy, someone may be already checking you out on social media. Like someone could be watching you as we speak. Yeah, or maybe you're watching them. Maybe this is you. Maybe you're watching them. Yeah, definitely. You could also meet on a dating app, and they could, you know, check out your profile, you know, before they actually respond, kind of thing. I think it's very cute. Pile 2 had secret admirer, and now you have like social media and spy twice, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other messages here. No, I think that's it. Bottom of the deck, we have commitment. Yeah, I don't think there's ever a doubt in this person's mind that you're the one. It does feel like that Jim and Pam energy where he buys the ring and then he actually, you know, waits a while before he proposes, kind of thing. And I also feel like, and I've gotten this message a couple times, I don't remember which group it was, but I also feel like your future spouse is very true to their word. So if they make a commitment to you, no matter what it is, even if it's just committing to like, yes, we're gonna go out on a date on Friday night, they stick to it. You know, like they don't just cancel plans or flake out without some like real legitimate reason why. Like, again, like this person feels very dependable, very reliable in that way. Like they make you feel very safe. It's nice because there's a real like fiery, passionate, spicy energy to this connection, and yet you feel so safe and so grounded with them. All right, pile 3. Even the 5 here, like change, like they're very different. Again, very different to what you were expecting. And it may also be that your first impression of this person is not at all what they're really like. And the same may be said of you as well, because we kind of got that a little bit. Like they think that you're really naive and soft, but they don't actually see like you're a tough cookie, pile 3. Let's move this over here. I want to get one more card. I think I've done all of these oracles in a different order for each group, and it's throwing me off a little bit because I think I'm forgetting something, but I'm not. Okay, pile 3. And then we have wall. Okay. With this wall card, I do feel like this is speaking to them, like getting you out of your shell, like calling you chicken and like baiting you into doing things that are outside of your comfort zone, and then you doing the same exact thing to them. I also feel like though, if there's something that you do have a wall up about, this person is not someone who's gonna tiptoe around that wall. Like your future spouse is 110% going to call you out on that. Like they are gonna say, like they're gonna push you a little bit, like, well, why don't you want to talk about that? You know, they kind of, in a good way, call you out on your BS. And you do the same exact thing to them. Like it's kind of like you can lie and put up a facade with everybody else, but I can tell that you're hurting. Now tell me what's wrong. You know, it's like that kind of energy. It's like you guys have a friendship as well as a romantic partnership, but it's the kind of friendship where it's like tough love. You know, it's like, all right, come on, seriously, like tell me what's up. You know how people say there's a difference between your friends and your best friend? You know, like with your best friends, you can just be blunt and honest and like not talk to each other for 3 months and you're still like right back where, you know, like you can pick up right back where you left things off. Whereas with friends, you know, you kind of have to be like a little bit nicer, you know, toe the line a little bit more. With your best friend though, you can be like, here's the real deal. It's kind of like that dynamic where you're like, all right, come on, tell me. Because it's like you're like family already, you know? So yeah, I don't feel like you can hide a lot from this person. Like you see the eye here on the doors, like you can close off that wall all you want to and they still see right through it. Like it doesn't matter. Like you can't fake it with this person. Like there's no point in giving them the silent treatment. There's no point in saying you're fine. If you're mad, they can see right through it. So you may as well get it out on the table and deal with it, you know? And they want to be here for you. They want to be your support system. So just say what's wrong, you know? And so you're good at calling each other out And as a result, you're better for it as a couple and as individuals. Like, you need that. You need someone to call you out. You need someone who's going to be honest with you and not just tell you what you want to hear and be like a yes man, you know? So this person keeps it real and you keep it real back with them. Also, with this teacup card, I definitely feel like there's a change in perspective. You know how they say like the glass half full versus the glass half empty? I do feel like you two have very different approaches to things, but there's value in each of your perspectives, and it's a matter of which lens does each situation, each specific scenario benefit best from. So sometimes like your perspective is going to be the strength, and other times their perspective is the strength. And so it's going to be a matter of give and take here. Like which perspective is the right one to apply to this specific problem, and like how do we come together and address this together. And so it's kind of, again, like, you know, you're stronger together. As different as you are, you're stronger together. Also, with teacup, going back to the dating, I really feel like this is also speaking again to the fanciness of your dates. I just feel like everything has to be nice and pretty and lovely. And with chicken, I think there's a lot about food here. Sorry if you're a vegetarian watching this, but the message did come through. I do feel like you guys both have a real love of food and a real appreciation for food. Only one of you may be a cook or a baker, but you both definitely like to eat. I will say that. Yes. I'm trying to think if there are any other messages here. I think that's it. All right, let's look at your oracle message here. So this is a message from your future spouse's higher self. What do they want you to know at the time of you watching this reading? I don't think this card has ever come out before in my like general reading, so this is kind of exciting. We got twin flames, your passion ignites. Okay, I don't know how you feel about twin flames. I know that it's kind of maybe an overused phrase or a controversial term, but I definitely feel like regardless of the terminology you want to use, like this is true love and this is a divinely guided union, and that's what truly, truly matters. And yes, like this is gonna be passionate, definitely very spicy. I do kind of see it though, like the twin flame, like the idea that it, you know, sort of being like a mirror reflection, like cut from the same cloth and yet so different. Yeah, I do feel like that's quite interesting. But I'll go ahead and thank you all for watching. Please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, hitting the notification bell so you always know when I upload. The easiest way to support the channel is to simply watch the ads. Thank you all so much again for watching and supporting the channel, and I will see you all in my next one. Please take care, Pile 3, and yeah, I hope you all have a great day.